Welcome to Drum Corps Central, a podcast. I am a 13-year-old drum corps superfan who loves all forms of the marching arts. Thanks for watching the podcast today. There will be an almost daily episode of this podcast recapping the previous night's drum corps scores and looking ahead. Today is Friday, July 27th, 2018. Last night, two shows, one in Birmingham, Alabama, the other in Johnsonburg, Pennsylvania. I'll get to that, plus a look at the current DCI World Class and Open Class leaderboards as of today, and a look ahead at a huge night tonight, 4 shows across DCI World Class and Open Class. All that plus more today on Drum Corps Central, a podcast. So first up last night, Johnsonburg, Pennsylvania, a blast in the burg. Same 4 open class corps that were in New York this past weekend, Glens Falls and Gloversville. So same 4 corps, they place basically the same. Spartans only a 10th a point lead on the Legends, 69.4 to a 69.3. 7th Regiment there in 3rd with a 63.1, and Raiders down in 4th with a 57 even. I think these scores are more accurate than those scores were in New York. Raiders scores were really low in New York with like very low 50s. I didn't think that's really where they were. 7th Regiment, move them up 2 or 3 points, definitely where they should be. And Spartans and Legends, that's about where Gold is, and about 2-3 points behind Vanguard Cadets and Blue Devils B. So it's right where they need to be right now as well. Let's take a look at the scoring recap for a blast in the burg last night. So, a partial panel here: visual proficiency, color guard, and music brass not judged. That could be part of the reason the results played out as they did, but not a huge reason to make excuses of why some corps didn't place higher than others. General effect 1 to the Spartans, general effect 2 to the Legends. Overall general effect, Legends 28.3 to 28 even for the Spartans. Visual analysis, which really counts as the whole visual caption, Spartans a 13.9 to the Legends 13.2, so that's 7/10. That's a large part of why the Spartans won this one. You see, that's 7/10. Legends was 3/10, so Spartans up by 4/10 after visual. Go over to music analysis, 2/10 to the Legends, music percussion, a 10th to the Spartans, but not enough to make up that another 10th that they needed to make up. Overall music 27.8 to 27.5. They make up 3 of the 4/10ths they had to make up in music. 69.4 for the Spartans, 69.3 for the Legends. All 3s for 7th Regiment, all 4s for the Raiders. Second show last night, Homewood, Alabama, DCI Birmingham. 1 open class score here, Southwind at kind of their home show, get a 60.4. They actually go down. They had a 60.8 a few weeks ago when they were touring with Louisiana Stars, Guardians, and Heatwave. They actually go down now to the 60.4. They will now go to Cape Girardeau, Missouri tonight, go with some other open class scores. 8 world class scores here. The Blue Knights 87 even, a good score for them. They go ahead of the Cadets on the world class leaderboard, but the Cadets did not have a show last night. It's only by 6/10, so I think the Cadets are still ahead of the Blue Knights, even if it's just a few tenths. Phantom Regiment 85 even. It's a fine score. They're right where they need to be. That 85 is historically what we've seen from the 12th place corps come Indianapolis in finals, and 85 I think was what Madison scored last year. Phantom could place 12th. I mean, that idea is still there. They could still place 12th. I mean, even when to lead to the next topic, Mandarin's only 2/10 behind them. If they slip down maybe below the Crossmen or Spirit or somebody makes a big run, Phantom could place 12th, and they're already at that 85, and now they have 2 weeks left. You're not going to be at an 85 in 2 weeks, which is kind of what I've been saying all season, that the scores this season seem a little high. Even like the Colts, they have really been 15th the past few years, 15th, 16th, 17th. They're 15th this year. but there's just so many good shows that they're better than they have been, but they're lower than they have been as well. So there's a lot of factors in that. And the Colts, they didn't break 80 till I think Allentown last year, or finals, or semifinals it would be for them. But it just seems like the scores are really high this year, and with 2 weeks left, the Cores are gaining 5 to 10 more points by the time Indianapolis comes. And when you see Phantom at an 85 already, you think, yeah, they'll probably get to a 90. Historically, that's what they've done. But what about like Spirit? They're at like an 82.7 on here. You getting 5 more points, you're an 87. 12th place in finals is an 87. That's unheard of. So I think that's part of just how good the scores and how good the action has been on and off the field this season. Anyway, the next top, Mandarins 2/10 behind Phantom, historically close, as DCI's tweet put them. Very close for those two. Spirit 2.1 behind Mandarins, a little bit more than they were the night before. So Spirit's still right there. It'll be interesting to see where they go with the Crossmen and everybody tonight and tomorrow night. Troopers 80.1, that's fine. As I said, they're better than they have been, but there's just so many good cores that it's holding them back. Same thing with the Colts. Same thing with Madison, really. Madison is a little weaker in their design than they have been, but they're basically right where they always have been over the past few seasons. Pacific Crest 77.85, Music City 73.6. That gap opens up a little bit. I still think Music City has a legitimate shot at catching Pacific Crest. And then Seattle Cascades down there is 67. I would put them a point behind what Jersey Surf had the night before. Now let's take a look at the scoring recap for DCI Birmingham last night. So, one open class score here, Southwind, not much to talk about. I did say that they probably wanted to be, in terms of the semifinals achievement that they might get this season or in the future, 60.4, about 7 points behind Seattle Cascades. I said 7 points would be fine. I just think they want to be a little closer if I were them. Then here's the world-class scores, general effect and visual listed here. Blue Knights all ones until you get over Color Guard. Color Guard is holding them back from making a run at the Cadets. But really that's not hurting the Blue Knights is that the Cadets are not so strong at Color Guard either. So really it's a win-lose scenario, but it's actually kind of fine. 4th in Color Guard for the Blue Knights. Mandarins 1st in Color Guard. Phantom 2nd. Spirit 3rd. And then Blue Knights 4th. Only 4/10 behind Phantom, though. So, I mean, 1st is a 17.6. 2nd is back at a 16.9. So, Mandarins are pulling away in Color Guard with these guys here. Then you got a 16.8 for Spirit and a 16.5 for the Blue Knights. They're going to need to improve that over the last few weeks. Music City does come ahead of Pacific Crest and Visual. And this also means that the Mandarins do get ahead of Phantom in Visual by 0.5 of a point. That is huge. Then over to Music, you got Brass, that's 1 through 8, lined up exactly how it should be. Spirit gets ahead of the Mandarins in Music Analysis. Pacific Crest ahead of Troopers there as well. And then over Percussion, Blue Knights, Phantom, Spirit ahead of Mandarins. As I've been saying really the whole week and the whole season, Spirit's music scores are just great this season. That's what's getting them where they are. Ahead of Mandarins here. Mandarins are, I think, not even in finals in terms of music. So they're going to need to do something over the last few weeks to propel that up. Mandarins 4th, Troopers 5th, Pacific Crest 6th, Music City 7th, Seattle Cascades 8th in music. So that's how those scores got to be. Really, how did the Mandarins get so close to Phantom? It's not in music. It's all in visual and a close margin in general effect. Let's take a look at the DCI World Class Leaderboard for this morning. So Birmingham, the only show on the schedule for the World Class Scores last night, no heavy hitters there. The top 8 corps, as this leaderboard states right now, no matter if you put the cadets 7th or 8th, or the Blue Knights 7th or 8th, the top 8 are in Murfreesboro tonight. Huge show down there. Other than Music City down there in 19th, it is their home show. So aside from that, no other corps in Murfreesboro. So a good show tonight in Murfreesboro. You see some of those other corps that are over in Dothan. You see the Blue Knights, or Blue Stars, sorry, Crossman, Academy, Madison, Colts. Some of those corps that are right on the bubble to the finalist bubble. So, Blue Stars, remember in the beginning of the season, we were talking about how they were in 12th. They had a shot at falling out of finals. They've corrected it. They're not going to fall. They are actually going up, and they got a real shot. They probably already got Phantom behind them. That's just because they didn't have the show last night. They'll have a good shot at taking the Blue Knights. I just think the cadets are a little too far ahead of them for them to catch them. Other corps at Dothan tonight, you get those bottom 5, Oregon Crusaders, Genesis, Jersey Surf, Seattle Cascades, and Pioneer. Bubble is 3/10 to Spirit, minus 3/10 to the Crossmen. Let's take a look at the DCI Open Class Leaderboard for this morning. So as I said, no more of that all Open Class Leaderboard really has no impact on the rest of the season. I'll still update it and put it on my website just below this one, unlike before. Lots of action tonight in Cape Girardeau. Big showdown. Vanguard Cadets 1.3 as of now ahead of Blue Devils B. Gold 3.2 back. They get to face off against Vanguard Cadets tonight. Same 4 corps. Johnsonburg goes Sheffield, Spartans, Legends, 7th Regiment, and Raiders. Raiders with that 57, they propel into finals. Heatwave probably would be about a 57 to a 60 right now. Colt Cadet, same deal. Shadow probably 55 to a 58. Right now, we'll get to see Heatwave return to action in Cedar Rapids. They're actually the one we have to wait on the longest. And Golden Empire, but Golden Empire had a show just last weekend, I think, so that score is not historically old. Heatwave that score is pretty old. So Cedar Rapids, that's next Friday, I think, the 3rd. Then Colt Cadets, Oskaloosa on Sunday, and Shadow in East Troy the beginning of next week, or Wednesday, I guess. Now let's take a look at tonight's shows for Friday, July 27th, 2018. First up, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, the Masters of the Summer Music Games, presented by Jupiter, Mapex, and Majestic. A lot of information on this one. So, Central Time, all-time Central. Welcome to National Anthem, 7:13. World Class Music City, 7:31. Blue Knights, 7:49. The Cadets, 8:07. The Cavaliers, 8:25. Boston Crusaders. 8:43 intermission, 9:06 Carolina Crown, 9:24 the Blue Devils, 9:42 Bluecoats, 10 o'clock Santa Clara Vanguard, 10:18 there will be an encore by the United States Army Band, and 10:30 scores will be announced, so 11:30 Eastern Time. What would that be? 8:30 Pacific Time. So, what to watch for here? Basically, everything that you want to know about the top 8 is at the show. A nice preview of tomorrow night. The Blue Devils do go on 3rd to last tomorrow night as well. So, this weekend scores between tonight and tomorrow. I'm not sure when they go on in Winston-Salem, but that might not be indicative of where exactly they are. So you get those top 3, Vanguard, Bluecoats, Blue Devils, of course, watching how they all play out. Crown, the Boston, and the Cavaliers. I think Boston can definitely catch the Cavaliers tonight. I think Crown's closer to 3rd than they are to 5th. Not in my opinion, but in the judge's opinion. Then you got Cadets and Blue Knights. How close can they be? Still, the Blue Knights have to go on before the Cadets, and that's just kind of hurting them right now. They want a good draw right now to be able to climb up the leaderboard. And then Music City, they're on first. Break 75 tonight. I'd say it's a good night for them. A few notes for this one at the Middle Tennessee State University Stadium. The Blue Devils have been rehearsing here the past few days. Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Weather, there are showers expected throughout the day. Really, at all 4 sites. 1 or 2 don't. But there are showers and thunderstorms possible at all these sites throughout the day, which could impact chorus rehearsals, schedules, or whatever. Starts off mostly sunny at 7, 81 degrees, sunset somewhere between 7 and 8, I guess. Works its way down to the low 70s by the time the show closes. Second tonight, Dothan Alabama, DCI Southern Alabama. All-time Central Time here as well. 7:30, Welcome National Anthem. 7:40, Pioneer. Get some Seattle Cascades and Jersey Surf. It'll be interesting to see how they play out. Oregon Crusaders and Jersey Surf, that's another battle I think is kind of getting overlooked. And even if you throw Genesis in there, those bottom, take Pioneer out, they're not necessarily up with them. But you take those other 4, from Cascades to Genesis, that could be a huge battle for semifinals. Because think about this. Seattle Cascades, yes, they are doing fine this year. Jersey Surf, yes, they're doing fine. What about the Oregon Crusaders? Could they miss semifinals for their first time in quite a while? Definitely since they moved to World Class. Because of, look at what the Open Class action has. Vanguard Cadets, Blue Devils B, Spartans, Gold, Legends. You've got 5 there. That would take you up to 19th. Anybody below 19th, which is these 5 here, would miss as of currently. I don't think Music City is in any jeopardy up at 19th, but I think down from 20th to 24th in that area is not a good spot to be right now because of those open class shows that are just so strong. And who knows, maybe 1 or 2 more could get in there, but that could end up being a battle. You could have a battle between like the Legends and Louisiana Stars for a spot in semifinals, which would just throw out all these world class scores. So I think the battle for semifinals could be one of the biggest come Indianapolis. Madison Scouts Academy, Colts, Crossman, Blue Stars. I think tonight Blue Stars will win this one. Crossman versus the Academy once again. Academy kind of a bad draw here. Then something great for the Crossmen, I think I covered this yesterday, is that they were in that top 12, so they get grouped with those 10th, 11th, 12th place scores. Phantom, Mandarins, and Crossmen are all grouped together, so they're fine. They don't actually stand that shot of having to go on after Academy or before Academy or Colts or Madison or anybody. I think Academy will be close to the Crossmen, then you got the Colts and Madison head-to-head once again tonight. Lots to watch for here in Dothan. Let's take a look at some notes for the DCI Southern Alabama show tonight at Rip Hughes Stadium in Dothan, Alabama. Weather forecast, 84 degrees, partly sunny skies at showtime around 7. 8, 9, 10 o'clock works its way to the upper 70s. Looks like fine weather for this one tonight. Third show, as now we move to the all open class score shows. Cape Girardeau, Missouri, drums along the Mississippi. 5 cores here, 7:30, Welcome National Anthem, 7:45, River City Rhythm, returning action, 8:06, Southwind, 8:27, Gold, 8:48, Intermission, 9:08, Louisiana Stars, 9:29, Vanguard Cadets, somewhere around 9:50, scores will be announced, 10:50 Eastern Time. So what to watch for here, Vanguard Cadets? How close could any of these guys really pull to them in their first head-to-head meetings with everybody except Gold at this show? You've got Louisiana Stars versus Gold, really versus River City Rhythm versus Southwood. So those other 4, they could all battle it out. I think Gold will be second. Louisiana Stars probably third, River City Rhythm fourth, Southwind fifth, I think. River City Rhythm's probably somewhere in the 60s, 60 to 65 right now. So who knows how this one will play out? Definitely a lot of interesting shows tonight. You've got Murfreesboro, you got top 8 there, huge show. Dothan, you got those bottom 5, and you've got those bubble cores. At this one, you've got a bunch of open class cores, meaning for the first time this season, huge night tonight. Just a few notes for Drums Along the Mississippi at the Tiger Event Stadium in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. This one's close to Southeast Missouri State University, I think it's called. So in that area. Cape Girardeau, Missouri, weather fine, 82 to 77 to 74 as the show happens. Looks like a good night for some drum corps in Missouri, though. And finally tonight, Sheffield, Pennsylvania, Music on the Mountain. All times Eastern time here, 7 o'clock, Welcome National Anthem, 7:10 Raiders, 7:31 7th Regiment, 7:52 Intermission, 8:12 Spartans, 8:33 Legends, somewhere around 8:58 Eastern time, scores announced. Same exact lineup as last night to the time slot. The only time that is different is last night's scores were announced at 8:59. Tonight's 8:58. So just 1 minute there. Same things to watch for as of yesterday here at this one. Burtons and Legends. Legends get the good draw tonight. They actually had the same fortune last night. Got to go on after the Spartans there. And got 7th Regiment Raiders. 7th Regiment, I'd like to be somewhere now that you've got everybody in that neighborhood competing tonight. You've got 7th Regiment, Southwind, River City Rhythm, just to name a few. I'd like to be somewhere ahead of them or close to them. Raiders, I don't think they're comparable to any of them, but if they are tonight, like if they strike a 60 tonight, that'd be huge. You think Southwind's probably at a 63, I think, last night's scores probably were not indicative of where Southwind currently is. As for this one and Cape Girardeau, you've got the 21-minute time slots. The corps will do, at least at this one, will do a small encore before their show. So not really an encore, like, I don't know what you'd call that. You've got that before the performance, and the corps performs, and then they get judged. So, a few notes for tonight's show. At the Sheffield High School Stadium in Sheffield, Pennsylvania. Short show, as these all have been, from Glens Falls to Gloversville to Johnsonburg to Sheffield. These guys, I think, now go up to Michigan or Wisconsin. Legends do a few shows up there hosting. 7 o'clock, 72 and partly cloudy. At 8 p.m., 69 and mostly sunny. Good night for some drum corps. Really all around, if some showers and thunderstorms hold off, mostly down the south in Tennessee and Alabama. Looks like a good night for some drum corps. Now, just a few things before I finish here today. Make sure to check out drumcorpscentral.weebly.com for all your latest updates from the DCI and DCA summer tours. Scores, schedules, leaderboards, and more can all be found on my own personal website about all things drum corps, drumcorpscentral.weebly.com. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you don't already, at DrumCorpGeek, and subscribe to my YouTube channel where this podcast and more will all be posted, Drum Corps Central. That's it for today. Just a quick note, 2 things I'll be posting later today, either on my website or on Twitter or whatever, however I figure out to post it. A little bit of a merchandise outlook, just a little bit of a merchandise guide for every corps that I have ability to get that from. So I'll have that coming your way either before tomorrow's show, but definitely before Allentown. And I'll have a rehearsal sites outlook for every corps, again, that I can get from their websites. For Atlanta, I'll be finishing that up today. I'll be posting it before tomorrow so that if you are in the Atlanta area and would like to go watch these corps perform, you have the ability. I'll also be doing that for Allentown and Indianapolis. That's it for today. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Drum Corps Central, a podcast. Have a great rest of your day, and good luck to all performing members and corps tonight in Dothan, Murfreesboro, Cape Girardeau, and Sheffield.